Now, I was scrolling on TikTok when I came across a video where Rob Liefeld said that Omni-Man beats Superman simply because Robert Kirkman said so. And honestly, I was genuinely perplexed because I've read the comics, I've watched the series, and to be completely honest with you, I don't think Omni-Man even touches Superman. So in today's video, I'm breaking down a full hypothetical matchup between these two characters. We're covering strength, speed, combat IQ, durability, and experience to find out who actually wins, even though I think the answer is painfully obvious. Starting off with strength. Viltrumite strength is genuinely something I think gets overlooked. And look, Invincible is my favorite comic series, but if we're giving them a baseline, I'm putting them at Class K strength. Now, if you're unfamiliar with power scaling tiers, Class K refers to lifting anywhere between 100 to 1000 tons, and we actually have feats to support this. For example, Mark Grayson has been shown lifting around 400 tons for reps in both the comics and the show, so it's not unrealistic to scale Omni-Man even higher, somewhere in the 500 to 600 ton range. We've also seen Nolan lift commercial planes with relative ease. A Boeing 787-8 weighs around 228 to 250 tons. A 777-300ER sits around about 351 tons, and an Airbus 830-80 exceeds 560 tons. We don't know exactly which aircraft he was lifting, but either way, it comfortably places him within that Class K tier. And then you've got lower end feats like casually tossing tanks, or more insane ones like throwing a baseball around the planet with Mark. One of the most notable moments come from the show, where he redirects a massive meteor back into space, but I think that's exaggerated. He says it's the size of Texas, but we need to slow that down for a second, because if you actually break that down, and at that scale, it doesn't need to hit a planet to cause damage. Just entering Earth's atmosphere, even getting close, would create catastrophic effects, because a meteor that size would weigh around 200 quadrillion tons. We're talking about global shockwaves, atmospheric heating, mass extinction, the kind of event that changes the planet entirely. So the idea that something that big got anywhere near Earth without already causing massive destruction just doesn't line up, which means one of two things: either the Texas-sized statement is massively exaggerated, which it is, or we're not meant to take it literally. And this is important because if you do take it literally, you completely break the scaling for Omni-Man and Viltrumites in general. So when you combine all of that, I think it's fair to say Nolan's lifting strength realistically sits in that 500 to 600 ton range, which is still anywhere near close to Superman's. Superman's lifting strength is genuinely insane, and I could give you multiple feats here, but I would really only need one. In All-Star Superman, even while overcharged, he was able to lift 200 quintillion tons with one arm, and that alone completely eclipses anything we've seen from Omni-Man. Actually, it eclipses anything we've seen from the Invincible universe. But it doesn't stop there. This is the same character who has bench pressed the weight of the Earth for 5 days straight, which is 5.972 sextillion tons. He's moved the sun, he's held a black hole in his hand, he's even dragged a galaxy. At that point, do I even need to continue, or do you get the idea? Because once you're dealing with numbers like that, you're not just stronger than Omni-Man, you're operating at a completely different level entirely. It's very clear that Superman takes strength. Speed. Now again, Omni-Man is fast, and I can list some feats to put that in perspective, but we are still talking about Superman here. Still, let's give Nolan his credit. One of the best feats for Omni-Man comes from when he destroys the Flaxons, and honestly that feat is so absurd I wouldn't even know where to begin with the math. So instead, I'm going to use a Mark Grayson feat that we can actually calculate. When one of Mark's teachers turned into a living bomb, Mark was able to fly him from Baltimore, America to Antarctica before he exploded, and he did it in roughly 40 seconds. The distance between Baltimore and Antarctica is around 15,000 kilometers, so if we divide that by 40 seconds, you get 375 kilometers per second. Convert that to kilometers per hour and you get 1,350,000 kilometers an hour. And when you convert that into Mach, it comes out roughly at a Mach 1093. Now this is kind of a standalone feat, but even then I'm not going to dismiss it. If we say this is a general baseline for Viltrumites, that would still put them comfortably in the massively hypersonic range, so I'm going to round it out to basically Mach 1000 for Nolan. That is still not enough to compete with Superman, and before I even dive into some of Superman's most insane speed feats, I'll give you a more grounded one. He flew from Earth to Mars in a matter of seconds. Even if we lowball that and say it took him 40 seconds just to match Mark Grayson's feat and time frame, the closest distance between Earth and Mars is about 54.6 million kilometers. Divide that by 40 and you get 1,365,000 kilometers per second, which comes out to around Mach 4 million. So yeah, Superman is still vastly faster than Mark, literally moving at multiple times the speed of light, and for one of these cooler feats, Superman once flew to the edge of the universe in just 60 days. So Superman very clearly takes speed. Let's talk about IQ. And this is one of the most overlooked aspects of Superman, his intelligence in my opinion. In one panel he reads every medical text ever published in a matter of seconds and retains all of it because of his near photographic memory. Even growing up, Clark was a straight A student and his IQ is consistently portrayed as being off the charts. There are moments where he solves mathematical equations in seconds that scientists have spent years working on, and it's just treated as a casual ability. It's such an underrated part of his character, like literally his family on Krypton were scientists. Now when you compare that to Omni-Man, the best you can really point to is the technological advancements of the Viltrumite Empire, but that doesn't directly translate to Nolan's personal intelligence, and even if you try to scale him off of that, can really say it's anywhere near significant enough to match Superman's, because honestly, it's not even close. And I wish I could give you an example of Nolan's IQ, but I can't. I guess I would say his thousands of years of experience might make him smart, 100%, but again, it's nothing comparable to Superman's, so Superman takes IQ. Let's talk about durability. Again, when we look at durability, does Nolan have feats? 100%. Viltrumites are an incredibly durable race, and physically in universe, there are only a handful of things that can actually harm them. It took a specific disease called the Scourge virus to actually wipe out most of them. Nolan himself can survive near black holes and even near the surface of the sun, which already puts him at an insane level of durability, but when you compare that to Superman, it just doesn't hold up. This is the same character who was able to move the sun, the same character who withstood a double punch from a being that held the power of all creation. He's absorbed anti-sunlight from a sun eater that could have vaporized half a galaxy, and even when poisoned with red sun radiation, he still survived an explosion 50 times the size of Kepler's supernova. At that point, there's nothing Nolan or any Viltrumite has done to even come close. So honestly, even if I had a full A to Z list of all of Nolan's durability feats, it wouldn't change anything here. Superman still takes durability, and it's not even close. Let's talk about experience. Now for experience, I'm going to throw Nolan a bone here and give him this category. Has Superman technically gone through more and done more? Yeah. Probably, but I don't want to see my boy Nolan get completely wiped out in every category because again, Invincible is my favorite series, so call me biased, but the guy's over 2,000 years old, he's constantly fighting, conquering, and surviving, so purely off of lifespan alone, giving experience to Omni-Man. Now, with that out of the way, Superman would genuinely turn Omni-Man into his girlfriend if he wanted to. There is nothing Nolan can do to stop him. Let's be real, if Superman saw how caked up Nolan was and wanted a piece of them cheeks, it's over for him. But seriously, the gap is just way too big. Strength, speed, durability, IQ, Superman clears in everything. This isn't close, it's not even debatable. I genuinely do not know what Rob Liefeld is smoking. He's always had these delusional takes, but hey, when you rip off a character from DC and someone else writes him into success and you can barely draw, what else do you got going for you? Anyway, that's my take. If you disagree, you're wrong, but you're welcome to join my Discord server and argue with me about it. Drop your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section, I'll read through them, and let me know what matchups you want to see next. With that being said guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all for watching, and peace.